minutes left in the hour, although they probably wanted to vacate the room a little earlier now. So time for a few questions here. Yes, there in the end.
Your talk yesterday made me think during this reading of how something like this would be done visually, and I still have no idea.
Yeah, well, David and Dan will have to worry about that. You know, they did the job of dangerous when they took it. As Super Chicken used to say, why have you? Yes.
So how much of the whole story have you plotted out, and did you have it from the very beginning?
The story grew in the telling. I had the broad strokes of the main storylines from the very beginning. Well, not maybe the very beginning. I mean, actually, when I first started writing it, I didn't even know what the hell it was. But, you know, back in 1991, by the time I first had been working at it for any significant length of time, I had the broad strokes of what I then thought was a trilogy. But it's grown more complicated over the years. I like to use the analogy of a journey. It's like setting out, let's see, I'm in Australia. Let me find an apt analogy here. I mean, it's like if you're sitting out in your car from here from Melbourne to drive to Perth. And you look at a road map, you know basically what road you're going to take, and you see the principal places you're going to stop. But you don't know all the twists and turns along the way. You don't know where you're going to gas up, or what restaurant you're going to stop in on the third day, or whether you're going to pick up a hitchhiker, or whether, you know, nuclear war is going to break out again. So the journey is always a bit of an adventure, but you do know the principal routes, and that's how I like to liken it to my process. Anyone else? Yes?
How old were you when you first wrote that site, or first story?
There's something up there, a little dancing kind of fun. 5 minutes, okay. I sold my story when I was 20 years old. It appeared when I was 21. That's my first professional sale. But I've been writing since I was a tiny little creature selling little monster stories to the other kids in the projects for a nickel, which at those times would buy you a candy bar. It no longer buys you a candy bar. So in some senses, I was a professional writer at like 12. You know, if you have a candy bar as a hallmark of professionalism. Yes, back there.
As a writer, developing your style and your craft, what do you think is the most important thing to remember and to keep in mind as you learn the craft?
Well, it's hard to pick one particular thing. I think persistence is a big part of it. I mean, the best way to improve as a writer is by writing, and the more you write, the better you will be. Reading helps too. Reading widely, reading a lot of different work, and that's particularly true in science fiction and fantasy. I meet a lot of people who are big fans of science fiction and fantasy and who read only that. And that's a shame, because there are things to be learned from other genres and from mainstream literature. Yes, you should read Jack Vance and Cordwainer Smith and Harlan Ellison and Robert Silverberg and Heinlein and all the great masters of science fiction, but you should also know Scott Fitzgerald and Jane Austen and Raymond Chandler and et cetera, et cetera. The more you read, the more widely you read, and then write, put it into practice. Try all that stuff. Eventually you'll find your own voice, but you're not going to find it at 17 or even at 21. In the early stages of writing, there's a lot of imitation going on. There's a lot of, ooh, look what he just did. Can I do that too? Let me try that. And you see whether you can do it too, and pick up a new technique that way. Yes?
What's the second chapter you've got there?
Oh, it's a Tyrion chapter, but I've read it before. Nothing much happened. Tyrion drinks a lot, and He's very upset. You have to recall, time-wise, of course, that, remember that these chapters are not subsequent to Feast for Crows, but they are parallel to Feast for Crows, because of the nature of the way I have split this book. So the chapter you've read, of course, takes place very soon after the end of Storm of Swords, after the big battle at the wall that shattered Mance Raider's host and captured 1,000 of them. The rest of them, including Varamir, are all fleeing for their lives from the Watch and Stannis and his knights who descended on them. I don't know how much I remember it. I know it's been, like a decade since. Sorry about that. But, where's the decade been? I may have been working till I was 11. Worldcon here was 1999. I've been working on this then. It's scary. Someone else? Yes.
So, one of the striking things about your other novels is none of them repeat at all. I mean, they're like completely different genres. How does it feel working on one thing for a long time?
It feels long. This is just an immensely big story, and again, it's true that I don't like to do the same thing often. I'm not a writer who gets to groove. I like to try new things, but the new thing this time was an enormously big new thing. So, an epic fantasy of truly epic scale, and is grown even more epic in the point. It will be good. I do think I am approaching the end, and I have to admit it will be good to finally deliver this one. I joke about it on my blog about the monkeys on my back and how one of them has turned into King Kong. It is a monkey, but of course after I finish this, there'll still be 2 more. So I still have a lot of work to do in Westeros. I love the world and I love the characters. But certainly, especially with these 2 books, the parallel construction, the loss of a 5-year gap. I mean, these are things I've talked about before and all that. I'm not going to rehash everything here, but it's made it very challenging. A lot of rewrites. Hopefully I'll get it right eventually. Yes?
You said that these were all running parallel to Feast of Crows, but I think on your blog you mentioned that you'd finished, the timeline up to the end of Feast of Crows in the first 800 pages or something, so...
Something like that, yes. So yes, this book will go a bit beyond Feast of Crows, so at least as it's presently constituted, when you're writing, essentially a Song of Ice and Fire is one story, much as Lord of the Rings was. It's not strictly speaking a series of books the way you have like a series of Jack Vance's Demon Prince series or a series of detective novels about these are the adventures of Blue Archer, and he has one adventure and it's over, and you come back and you have a second adventure. It's not that. This is one continuous story, although a story of great scale and immense complexity. So where to end any particular book is always a question that I wrestle with. I don't like to end just like in the middle of the sentence. I'm ending here in the middle of a sentence. So thank you all for coming. I must now run.